Hey budget fam, it's Jordan from Jordan Budgets. Today we are doing a pen to paper, getting back to the basics of how to start a budget slash me starting my own budget. There's a lot to chat about here because you guys might be saying, girl, you have a budget channel and you have had a budget channel for 2 years now. So what do you mean you're starting your budget? We're gonna get into it. I first wanna say welcome if you are new here. My name is Jordan. I am a single mom of 2 little boys. I have a full-time Etsy and YouTube like a thing going on here. So this is my full-time income. If you are part of the budget fam already, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for being a part of my journey. Now, I want to start off by saying, I feel like when I started YouTube, I had a really good handle on my budget, and I've probably made a couple of these videos so far, right? Saying like pretty much since I started YouTube, since I stopped getting a consistent check, it has been a struggle for me. I would say I'm doing okay because like we haven't been struggling, right? Like we've been paying our bills, we've been on top of things, but when it comes down to it, there is some money that is being like wastefully spent that never really makes it onto my budget. I also haven't been super clear about how much I spend on business related expenses, and that is purely because I felt like I haven't had it figured out. So this is my little disclaimer. I am a budget channel. I consider myself a budget encourager. I am not anyway a professional. This is literally me at this moment. We are going to try to separate out my personal budget from my business money, from my business budget, and moving forward I would love to start having a video once a month talking about my business budget, again being YouTube, Etsy, taxes, that side of things. And then my personal budget, of course, I check in every single week with a cash stuffing. That's my personal money. And then I would like to do pen to paper on my personal budget as well. But I literally just have a blank sheet of paper here. I do have 2 colors of washi just to kind of divide out the page a little bit, and I have a pencil. I have created some pages in the past that aren't very robust but are more budgeting pages that you can use for your own personal budgets. I have in the works a planner line. I think I'm just gonna divide up the page a little bit just while we figure out our sections. But yeah, the planner line is coming at some point. That's a whole other topic. Clearly it's not here yet, it's not ready, or I would be using it. And because I'm trying to break up my personal and my business budget, I'm really not even sure. My brain is so overwhelmed. So welcome to today's video. I literally have my computer right over here so that I can kind of budget and see where we are with all of our, like with my bank and my credit card. I do have a bank and a credit card. I always try to pay the credit card on time. We're gonna talk about that in a second because I do have a little bit of business debt. And then I have some paper receipts, which you guys might hear, but I'm not gonna show you just to, I don't wanna accidentally share something that I shouldn't, so we're just gonna keep it off camera over there. I'm gonna start though by writing, so like I know with my personal budget, we even have a pencil, y'all. That is how much I do not trust what I'm doing right now. Like, but if you are with me right now and you have never put pen to paper creating your own budget, maybe this is a good time for you to go ahead and do that. Now, I don't feel like I'm going to be hitting everything in this video. You have to come back and see my future pen to paper videos because I'm positive right now some things are gonna get left off. I'm positive I'm going to be rearranging sort of how I'm sectioning this off and what I'm thinking. Okay, zooming you guys in a little bit so you can see as I start to write down categories. But this today is just to get started. I'm not trying to be perfect with this at all. Just taking a blank sheet of paper and writing down everything I can think of. And then throughout the week, as I need to add or tweak things, I can do that, right? So personal money, I know that I have bills, I have variable, and I have sinking funds. We're gonna put sinking funds up here because I know I have a lot going on. The only other thing that I should put in personal, but I really didn't leave space for, is debt, which again, we will talk about in just a second because we've never really talked about debt on this channel. I typically try to stay debt-free, but we're gonna talk about the car and a couple business things going on. I do cash stuff bills. We've been just using this single envelope for our bills. We might get back to having a whole bills binder. There was a time when having an entire bills wallet stressed me out because there was just so many categories, but we've reached the point where I haven't had a bills wallet for so long that I'm like, what even are my bills? What am I paying for? What are we doing? So I'm gonna write off the top of my head, and again, I might miss a couple. I could pull it up on the computer, but I'm going to try to use the computer as a last resort. We're gonna do our best guesses to work through this, and then towards the end I might pull up the computer and see sort of what I'm forgetting. But I know I have rent, which is $1,400 every month. I have gas for the house, which this time of year, summer it's cheaper, winter it's more expensive. We're gonna put our summer price, which is about $30 right now. And then our electric is about $250 $150 right now because we are in summer. Water has been way more expensive. Again, we are doing rough estimate numbers here in a little bit, or maybe in another video. We will pull up exactly what I'm needing to pay this month, and we'll start to track it a little bit more accurately. Water has been so expensive, y'all. I think it's because we've had the pool. I am doing away with the pool. It is so sad, but if you're keeping up with the saga of my life, it has been a crazy few weeks. Last week, there was a lot of issues with the house. So the pool, I just went ahead and took down the pool, and I want to start repairing the yard spot where the pool was sitting. Long story, but anyway, we won't have such a high water bill moving forward because we're doing away with the pool. But I want to say last month it was like $150. We don't have a phone bill. I am grandfathered in on a family plan and my line is free, so I don't pay anything for the phone. Now my boys do have Gab watches, which are their phones. Maybe it's 50. See what I mean? Like, we need to check on these things. Rent, gas, electric, water, and then internet. Internet is the only thing that I've sort of left off. Internet is $80 a month. Actually, so my boys have been in gymnastics. I would say gymnastics and stuff like that, I'm gonna kind of consider it a bill. What do you guys do with stuff like that? Do you consider it variable expenses? Do you consider it a bill? Let me know what you guys do. I'm gonna consider it a bill, although I will say we're done with gymnastics. Y'all know the hoopla that happened with my youngest son, but we are, my oldest one was still in it. We're not going to continue paying on that though, so I'm not going to put that on here. We do have a pool pass again for $56, so we will total that up in a second. Now, typically I would consider my car a bill. I'm going to move it over to debt though, and I feel like it can go either place, but just to kind of how do I say, like, encourage myself to pay that off quicker than what I am, we're gonna go ahead and put the car note under debt. And I want to say, y'all, the interest on that must be atrocious because I feel like I'm paying $400 a month on it and it's not moving hardly at all. I want to say we're still at like $19,000 owed on the car note. This was the first time I've gotten a car note. I usually just pay out of pocket for an older car. I still am happy I did that, but I want to make this a priority, like look at it like it's debt because it is debt, and get that paid off. Now, something I haven't talked about a lot on this channel, there are certainly like business expenses, right? With getting new products for Etsy. Mostly it's Etsy, it's not really YouTube. I don't have any ongoing fees for YouTube. It would be nice to have an editor consistently. It would be nice to have, like, start saving for new equipment and better equipment and stuff. There are some ongoing fees, which I guess I need to put, we're going to put business stuff down here, and I'm actually going to put under my bills the things that I know I pay for that I'm honestly haven't even been tracking. I've just been kind of looking, let me scoot you guys up for a second. As far as business stuff goes, I'm kind of just like, oh, it's a business expense, it's a write-off, I don't have to worry about it. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't be tracking it, right? Like Canva, for example, is a bill. I only use Canva for work. I also have a work-only storage unit. Like it has Etsy materials and Etsy things. I don't go to that storage unit very often, maybe twice, 2 or 3 times a month. I need to go like stock up on some stuff from the storage unit, but it's basically because my house just doesn't have enough room to store the stuff for work, right? So Canva and storage unit are definitely business bills, and I am 1000% sure I have other expenses, but because I just have not been tracking it very well, I don't know offhand even what those are, and I want to be so much better about that because I need to have my business budget together. So bills I can think of offhand is Canva and storage unit. Again, later, maybe even a separate video, I'm gonna come back and talk about like what got added, what you guys missed out on. Okay, true brainstorming moment here, guys. I'm gonna treat our business budget exactly like I treat our personal budget. We have bills, variable expenses, and sinking funds for both personal and business. If you have a business, please let me know kind of how you break up your categories. I know there is such a more official way to do this, and once I talk with a CPA a little bit more, anyway, like I said, this is not me showing you guys because I've had it together. This is me figuring it out, and this is the start of me figuring it out. I know there's a more official way to break things up, and I'm sure as I talk with a CPA more, I'll be able to tell you guys how I'm changing this. But just to start a basic business budget, I think I can kind of look at it the same way. Like I have some basic bills that come out every single month, like Canva and storage unit. I have some variable expenses that come around every week, like a video editor. I'm sure I have more. The print shop, I do use a local print shop to do a lot of my stuff that I have professionally created. I also need a sinking fund for, let's just put overseas. Really, I could say it like this, like my sinking funds I'd be saving for local and then overseas. Like I use a local print shop, and then there's some stuff I cannot source locally, like the wallets that I sell, and I get those overseas. I wish I could get them local, but there are just some things that I get from overseas. So I would love to start putting a percentage away every single week from our business money to go towards saving for items from the print shop, and then saving for also our overseas purchases. Now, debt. Okay, debt is not something I talk about a lot on this channel because honestly, I never had a lot of debt. Why am I doing little dashes? I don't know. Debt for the business. Debt is not something that I have struggled a lot with on my personal side, but with the business, when it comes to overseas purchases, lately what I've been doing is it tends to happen like this, okay? I don't really have the money for it, but I get this wild idea and I purchase a bunch of stuff, and then I will go $2,000 to $3,000 in debt, right? Because I didn't have the money set aside for it. I will get those items shipped to me from overseas, but they have to be created, then they have to be shipped. It's like a whole thing. So it takes a good 2 months before I can list it. And so I always feel like it's always that I have debt on the credit card for business, and then it takes me 2 months to be able to really list those items and pay that off. And it stresses me out having that debt sitting there. That always happens to me though. I do this every single time. And then by the time I've paid off the business debt, I then order more items and go into business debt again. So there's always this like rolling business debt on the back end, which is not a big deal. And when I'm talking about debt for a business, I'm talking $2,000 to $3,000. I think we have $3,000 right now sitting on the credit card because I just made some big purchases for some upcoming products. Totally gonna be worth it when the time comes, but having this sitting here really stresses me out. You guys know I would prefer to pay for everything up front. So here is where I'm at with that. I really want to add up how much my bills are gonna cost me because of course I can't change any of the bills really for the entire personal and business side. Most of that is pretty set. Variable expenses, I do need to write down my personal expenses. Before we move on any further, I'm sorry, this is going to be just very much a chatty video. I do have my cash wallets because I do want to chat about it somewhat. And our variable expenses, we are up to $225. We are up to $225 per week. So I almost said month. So that's going to be like times 4 or 5. That's math we can do for another moment, but we are up, let me slide you guys down, but we are up to groceries being $225 per week. Now groceries does include household and fast food. So, you know, give me some grace when you see that number, $225 for 3 people per week. We are going to be doing a no spend this month though, so I'm hoping to get this number even lower because we will still be buying groceries, but we will no longer be buying fast food at all this month. So I want to see really how much of this is fast food. If I just take fast food away, how much could we be saving, right? Gas for the car, we spend $60 every 3 weeks, so let's just say $100 to keep it easy. The only other weekly money expense that we have for our personal is going to be fun money. So our fun money really varies depending on what we have going on. I'm gonna try, let's say we give ourselves $25 per week. Let's just say $100. That's obviously not gonna be including any big trips. That's just like, you know, a little bit of fun around the neighborhood. So let me write down really quick our sinking funds so I can start thinking about what I want to add to this as well. So I'm going to flip through. We do have some money set aside for vacation. This is not going to be a very common sinking fund for me. We don't do vacation savings a whole lot. If you guys have heard me chat about this lately, my brother did move to a different state. I haven't announced it to you guys where it is though, but it's pretty far from where I'm currently living, and I want to go in about a month and visit him and my sister-in-law and their baby, and I want to check out the area to see if me and my parents would like to move there. We do have yearly memberships. Christmas, our penny challenge is going to be used on Christmas. We have birthdays. We don't have here, but I really need to add it, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on our list. We spend a lot throughout the year on friends' birthday presents and, you know, holiday presents, and I tend to want to pull from the boys' savings, and I'd like to get away from that. So I'm just going to make a separate presents category, and that's going to be for like other friends' birthday parties. And presents for other holidays. Maybe I just need a general holidays. I guess we'll see what I do. But either way, I want to separate birthdays for the boys out from presents and holiday spending. 100 envelope savings challenge. This for me is an emergency savings and putting money away for this card debt. So like once we get to a certain point, and honestly we are doing a wallet rearrange probably in the very next video. We might be just keeping our $1,000 in here for emergency and then pulling the rest of this to put towards the car debt. I really want to get away from that car debt, especially as we're thinking about moving. I'm thinking about purchasing a home. And then I do have extra car payment back here, and then that's it. So I will likely be switching out this 100 envelope savings challenge for just a general 1,000 emergency savings, and we already have that 1,000, and then putting whatever the rest is in this wallet. We will figure it out the next video I do. Really, we're gonna pull it together. The only other wallets I currently have, this is being saved for paying off debt on the car. I need to stuff that cash. And then the only other wallet is our fun money category. So I had been saying too for a little while, I'm gonna push you guys back out again. Sorry, back and forth. I had been saying for a while that once I stuff this 50, we were gonna start saving $100 for fun money for every single month. I think right now we're just gonna keep it at 50, which means we're fully stuffed on this, and we might retire this category, or we might retire this wallet since it is stuffed. I'll put this money away, possibly even put it away into one sinking funds. Like we might have a fun money category in here, and then I'll go ahead and have it stuffed and ready, and we just know to pull $50 for every single month to jumpstart our like fun money category. Anyway, that was a lot to say. Like I'm not writing down some of those things because they're a little bit redundant, but we will be reorganizing and refixing our binders and stuff pretty soon. I have been wanting to add to sinking funds, so while we're talking about it, what can I add? I just recently paid, let me pull up how much I paid. I only saved for car insurance for the next 6 months. I saved $600. I don't know what I was thinking because I knew my car insurance was more than $100 every month, but y'all know math is my struggle like bus. That's the struggle bus that I live on, is trying to do math all the time. My insurance for 6 months for the car specifically was actually $750. Now I also have not had, I have different types of insurance, but I have not had renter's insurance, and y'all know this house struggle has been it's been a lot. Although honestly, so here's where I'm at. I don't think I can get, from what I'm hearing, because all of this like fiasco has happened with the house, it's too late for me to try to get renter's insurance now because like stuff is happening in this house and there's some claims being made the person who owns this house is making. So I was not required or asked of her to get renter's insurance, so I actually let that lapse and I didn't keep paying for it once I moved into this house. I am gonna start saving though for renter's insurance. I would love to, once we're done living here, I would love to jump straight into owning. I guess it depends how this whole house situation shakes out, but renter's insurance is back on my radar as something we need to pay and to be saving for. I want a less important but still fun. I would love to add a self-care. Zoom you guys back in. I would love to, I say zooming, I'm really just manually moving the camera. Self-care, I would love to make that a priority again. I want to make a whole wallet, just like, so vacation is going to be its own binder and self-care is going to be its own binder pretty soon. I won't be putting a ton into self-care, but tips that I've been getting over on Etsy, I think I will move over to self-care. And then vacation, while we're doing a no spend this month, we're gonna focus on, one, paying off our business debt. This is such a jumbled video. I am so sorry, but I hope you guys are following. Let me know in the comments if you're able to follow my trains of thought, because I know they are not like linear. They are very much circling all over the place, but we are doing a no spend this month. One, I want to see how much we're actually wasting on fast food and fun money, because I know we do spend a lot of it. I have no guilt about it because we've had a great summer, but in August I do want to spend to a minimum on pretty much everything. I'm putting careless spending to a minimum. I want to focus on, one, getting rid of this business debt, and then 2, focus on vacation that we're going in mid-September, hopefully maybe even the end of September, to visit my brother. So once we've gotten rid of business debt, and then once we have the vacation funded, hopefully that will all happen this month. The sooner the better. Maybe it'll even happen in the next few weeks, and then we can move on. But as soon as that happens, and I'm not spending on the business either, like I'm doing a no spend this month, I'm spending no money, I'm getting us back to square one, I'm going to really be tracking a lot, and I'm going to figure out what all my bills and my sinking funds need to be for the business. So this is really just a month of me figuring it out, right? And then paying off those 2 things. I'm gonna keep saving on the car note, but this is gonna be longer than like a 1-month thing for sure. And my hope is that at the start of September, we can come back here, we can do the same kind of thing, but we will actually have our wallets organized, so I can just show you those, and then we can start doing a monthly business sort of check-in, and I can tell you guys how that's going. My other ideal, which is if you have a business and you have personal, let me know like what your balance is. How do I say this? How you balance your numbers. Do you do it like a percentage wise? Like does your business always get a certain percentage and then your personal? Because what I'm thinking is I would like to figure out exactly what my personal bills, variable, and then sinking funds needs. And then what my same thing for my business, what we actually need. And then I know those big purchases are gonna come around ever so often with the print shop and then with purchasing overseas. So I would like to have like a percentage going towards my personal, like as soon as I get paid from Etsy, this percentage goes to personal and this percentage goes to business and taxes. That's something else I didn't write down here, but a sinking funds for me would also be taxes. I know that's a whole thing, but I would like to say, you know, 35% is always going to go towards business and taxes and the rest of it goes to personal, or maybe 50 needs to go to business and taxes and 50 needs to go to personal. I don't know. I'm hoping we figure it out. This has been a long time coming. I have needed to figure this out for a very long time. I am the kind of person though that whenever I sit down to do something like this, I want to know all the answers before I do it, or else I just don't want to do it. And that's probably really common for a lot of us, but this is just me brainstorming like for the very first time. Not for the first time, I take that back. I've brainstormed like this before, but then I don't move forward on it. But I think me doing a no spend this month and knowing that I've got this $3,000 business debt kind of looming over my head, I do feel very pressured to do a no spend and really just start keeping track of everything a lot more this month. I think the next time we check in doing something like this too, we're gonna have a monthly spread and we're gonna have more pages to start really breaking things out. But I did want to show you guys, you just need a sheet of paper to start thinking about it, to start doing it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like I'm working on this throughout the whole week. This is not like a one-time sit down thing. But here's a little bit of like my debt confession. I do have the car note for $19,000. We have some sinking funds at the end of this 100-day savings challenge. We will have $5,000 saved to go towards the car note. So I mean, I don't think the car note is going to get taken care of right away, but I definitely need to stop just putting the $400 in every single month and just kind of waiting that out, because that's going to take me forever to pay off if I do that. I would love to have this done in say a year, you know. We will see though. Life seems to be very like lifey lately though, right? Like there's a lot of curveballs. I don't know what the planet is doing. It's trying to throw all of us off, I think, but all the more reason to try to get things together. If you guys have anything to add, to share, to help me, please leave it in the comments below. I always learn so much from you guys, and you guys give me so much good advice. This is literally where I'm at right now. I don't have it figured out much at all past this. So again, please feel free to share if you have any kind of experience, especially at budgeting, business, and personal, and it being like a one-man show like this. Starting to do Etsy and YouTube full-time is really what threw me off, right? But to be fair to myself, and I guess I'm just gonna be defending myself for the last few minutes of this video, but to be really fair to myself, I spent a good bit of my Etsy and YouTube really just trying to survive, and it kind of still feels that way, but I do feel like we've reached a point where I have enough to plan ahead with the business stuff. Because it's my full-time income, I'm really like, I need to keep a roof over my head and I need to eat. Well, I mean, we have started to add in, like I could have not gotten that car note, and I can kind of rein in some of our personal spending. So my income has reached a point where like I should be putting more into the business than I do. I've just kind of been getting greedy, and I need to kind of you know, the pendulum has swung all the way to like I have $0 to I'm having fun money. Okay, we need to meet in the middle, and I need to focus on giving the business back some money so I'm not stressed whenever I make big purchases for the business. On that same note, do I put this in personal or business? We're gonna put this just in its own little spot for now, and y'all can tell me how you would handle this. But there are certainly some weeks where, say I get paid from Etsy and it was a good check, and I also get YouTube, maybe I get a sponsorship. Like sometimes there's bulk amounts of money coming in. Some weeks are really good, and then there's some weeks where I'm only getting an Etsy check and it's literally $500, and I gotta figure out how to pay personal and business and all the things, right? So I'm saying that to say I would like to add a, how would I say, rollover? Okay, I wasn't even sure what to write for that, but I just wrote rollover money for down weeks, because there are some weeks where there is a legitimate, like we need gas in the car, but I literally didn't make that much that week because I was sick and I wasn't on Etsy and I wasn't on YouTube and we haven't created anything new, right? So sometimes I do have some down weeks, and I have learned not to stress, zooming you out again, I have learned not to stress those down weeks too much, because for the most part, Etsy and YouTube has been an ebb and flow the entire ride. So I'm finally not so emotionally wrapped up in the down weeks. I just kind of keep doing my thing, and so far it's worked out that way, right? But I do probably need to put a cap on my personal, not just percentages, like put a cap on my personal and a cap on my business, and always be putting money aside for rollover. Or maybe we always just need to put, say, 5%. Again, if you have any kind of a business sense, please give me all the advice in the comments, but maybe like 5%, no matter what kind of week it is, maybe 5% needs to go into rollover. And then if it's absolutely like we need food, we can't do that, then maybe we can, during that week, feel free to pull from the rollover money. You know what I mean? But I think I need a rollover money wallet in its own. Like it needs to be its own thought, and I need to really put some focus, just like I need to start focusing on the business. I need to focus on a rollover category of some sort for those down weeks, you know? Okay, that is it for this video. I know this was very chatty. I think I will see you guys tomorrow or maybe the next day to completely redo these wallets and kind of reorganize and add in some different categories. But I guess realistically it's probably going to be a couple of days, because I do need to spend a little bit more time making sure I wrote out all of the sinking funds that I want, and making sure I didn't miss any bills in here. I know I have some business bills. That's another thing though. I will be doing a business wallet, but I'm gonna be stuffing fun money or play money or prop money, whatever you wanna call it. That is it for this video. I know it was very long and it was chatty and there was very minimal cash in it. So if you made it all the way to the end, thank you, thank you, thank you. You are a true friend. As always, I love you, I appreciate you, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.